Now, today, first off, what I want to do is show off, in my opinion, what is the best M4 build currently in game at the moment for Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. And not Warzone, just bear that in mind, not Warzone, but multiplayer. In my opinion, this is potentially the best that, in my opinion, we have at the moment. And we covered this the other day on stream, or at least I briefly went over it. But after using this thoroughly yesterday, I think I can confidently say that this is an extremely powerful build, and what I would probably define as a meta M4 build at the moment. So let's take a look at the gun on its own currently at the moment. And this is obviously for the M4. I'm going to be using the Mortal's BANE blueprint just purely because I like the receiver and I like the style of it. You can use whatever you want to, honestly, on this. It's entirely up to you what you want to go for. But here we have it. We'll do a quick rotation, and here she is. And you'll probably notice that this actually looks very similar to some of the meta M4 builds from Modern Warfare 2019, which it does carry a few comparisons, I suppose you could say. Obviously on here as well I also have the bubbly charm just because it's New Year's, so yeah, no, just ignore that for now, but obviously you can run whatever kind of cosmetics you want to on here, such as Orion or Platinum if you want to. So, in terms of the actual attachments we have on this thing, and obviously that's going to be the main thing for this, we have our full 5 attachments. Now, these attachments are going to be prioritizing, for the most part, aim down sight speed and recoil control, because that's ideally what you kind of want going into Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, is to have that advantage aiming down sight and to be able to have recoil that is controllable. Now obviously recoil was fairly easy to control in this game anyway, but some people struggle with it still, so this may help with them. Nonetheless, first off, we'll start off with the stock attachment, which is going to be the demo D50 buffer tube. This is going to improve your ADS and pretty much everything to do with your movement, but it's going to affect your recoil control and your stability, which sounds a bit counterintuitive to what we're going for, but trust me, it works, or at least for me it does. Now, for the grip, for the rear grip, we're going with the SAKIN ZX grip. Now, this is going to help counteract that recoil control that we didn't initially have on the buttstock there. However, it is going to affect our aiming stability yet again, but we have ways around that, so don't you worry. I'll go over the tuning for each of these attachments afterwards, by the way. So we'll just get everything out of the way and done with first. So, moving on to the underbarrel attachment, and this is the FSS SHARKFIN 90. Now, this doesn't have any negatives to it, it's simply there to improve the idle aiming stability, and yet again this is going to help counteract what we had initially there with the SAKIN ZX grip. So that's that there. Now for the muzzle attachment, you can choose whatever you want to really here, but in my opinion what works best for me personally is this XTEN HAVOC 90 muzzle attachment here. Or this muzzle brake specifically I should say. And this is going to really help with that horizontal recoil control and the vertical recoil control. So that's what's going to be helping us most there, but it does affect the ADS speed and the aiming stability, but yet again that is counteracted by the other attachments that we have on this weapon. And finally, for the barrel, we have the HIGHTOWER 20-inch barrel, which is going to improve bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and the hipfire accuracy, but at the expense of ADS speed, movement speed, and hip recoil control. So it sounds a bit like we're not really going for ADS here, but trust me, when we get the tuning done on this thing does pretty well. So let's go over that now. Now obviously of course we can't tune the stock here because it's just a buffer tube, but we'll go with the grip first and I will just show you right here what I'm currently running at the moment. Now you can play around with this yourself. If you're able to find something better, I definitely leave it in the comments down below or just suggest it here in chat. But I would go with this personally if you're not really sure what to do. I don't like to go all out on either side because it can negatively affect it sometimes, so this is what I feel like works best personally. And I did see this build somewhere, but I don't think I quite got the tuning from it. I can't remember. But nonetheless, this is it for the rear grip there. Now, if we go over down to the underbarrel here, as you can see, here's our new ones. You'll see that a lot of these are prioritising the aiming stability and recoil now, just purely because that's what we kind of need to sort out and counteract from the attachments that we have. But there you go. If you need to take a screenshot or anything, or pause the video, or anything just to get this down, there you go. Now going on to the muzzle attachment, pretty much all the way up on recoil stabilization and all the way to the right on gun kick control. This is the only one which I kind of really justify putting it to the extremes because it really does help that much. But there you go, there's that. And finally here's the HIGHTOWER 20-inch barrel tuning. And there it is, once again prioritizing sort of that ADS speed and recoil steadiness. But that is the attachments and tuning that we have on this weapon. Now if we take it over into the firing range here, we'll do a quick inspection of the weapon itself. And there you have it. And now what we're going to do is we are going to first off test out the recoil here against this door, which I like to use to test the recoil real quick. So I'm going to start off the first two not controlling the recoil, and then I'll do the second two controlling the recoil. So here we go. So as you can see there on the first two, without controlling the recoil, we have to bear in mind that we get the random bullet deviation now, which is very annoying on the recoil patterns. But you'll notice here that what we have is we seem to get a bit of a jump when we seem to fire after firing them sort of first 5-6 rounds. But as we continue to fire, we seem to get more accurate, more towards the end when we're finishing off our magazine. And this will help us greatly when we are in firefights where we need to completely spray the enemy or we miss quite a lot of shots, because as we continue to fire, we're going to get more accurate pretty much as we go. But even though, saying that, in terms of the actual horizontal recoil, we actually do keep that fairly steady. It doesn't seem to really deviate much, but it is just sort of how the weapon goes off here to the left and then back up. But this is controlling the recoil now, so we'll take a look at this. Bear in mind, if I do overcompensate the recoil, then I will say, but I apologise if I do. So as you can see there, the recoil is very easy to control. You know, in close quarters combat, if you're aiming at head height or chest height, that's going to be a kill in the good first few rounds, so you don't need to worry about that. The only thing that you kind of need to worry about is the weapon pulling off to the left here, but with time you will get used to that. But yeah, no, the weapon dispersions here are pretty good, and I think the bullet patterns are fairly nice. You'll see here that running around with tack sprint on the mobility is absolutely very good on this, and in terms of ADS speed, although it's not the fastest, you will get outdone by SMGs and the like. However, for an assault rifle, it's very quick. It's definitely going to beat out a lot of the other ones. But we'll take this up against a test against some of the dummies here, which I know aren't the best accurate, and then I think we will finish up there. Either way, this is me controlling the recoil. So, as you'll see there after we've just taken out a few dummies there, you'll notice that it doesn't do so good in the longer ranges, past, you know, roughly 50 meters or so. However, in those close quarters engagements from 10 to 25 meters, which is typically what your average engagement distance is going to be in typical multiplayer games, you're going to be doing a very good job at taking the enemy down. So that's sort of the main thing which you need to bear in mind is that really you're not going to be using this for long range, but short to medium range this is an extremely lethal weapon. Pardon my voice break there, but yeah, no, that is my M4 build that I'm currently running at the moment in terms of, I suppose you could say, meta, or to be most competitive, but I would highly suggest that you try it out, play around with it if you haven't done already, and let me know what you think. But nonetheless, thank you. We'll catch you all around.